things figured out. Here we go. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast with your host, Hannah Nuss. I'm, as always, so excited for you to be here. We are venturing in on, we're like 3 days away from our 250th episode. That's just like blowing my entire mind, along with the fact that people are here and they listen and something about this message connects with them, whether it was 6 months ago or 12 months ago or 2 days ago. You came back, you found something that you liked, and that will probably forever be blowing my mind. So my great thing from yesterday was just taking time to reconnect with a listener and make sure that she fully understood how big of a part she played in this podcast continuing. And today we're going to talk about why there's no better time than right now. We're going to talk about that today. And, you know, this listener specifically came in and found worth or communicated the worth of the work that I was doing so early on. And I don't know that I would have continued had she not came in and firmly planted her flag in the belief of me and the things that I was doing. And so yesterday I had the opportunity to reconnect with her and to make sure that I let her know that and really know it, really like hug her with those words. Hey, this wouldn't have happened, right? And she was congratulating me on the episodes and talking about the success of the podcast, etc. And I just had to let her know that this wouldn't have been possible, right? Because no one is going to tell you the dreams in your head or in your heart are real and reachable, right? If they do, they probably want money from you to tell you exactly how to do it. Sorry, that may be a really close to my heart experience, but they'll tell you, right? As long as they can teach you a course on it. But most people are not going to be like, yeah, you can do it. You got this. You're amazing. And she was that person for me, right? And not that person being like, yeah, you can do this. And it'll only cost you $99 for my workshop on how. She just, no bars, no commitment, said the things. And I think people who are willing to do that, who do believe in you, are just so necessary in this world. And she's been such a gift and continues to be such a gift that I don't know that we'd be where we are today without her. And that's why I say we when I talk about this podcast, because it's me sitting in this room, but it's all of you, right? If you've been a part of this, if you're coming on now, if you've listened to any episode, you are a part of the death of a dream. We is you and me. It's us included. And every listen and every play and every review and like and share calls me to continue this work and to keep going. And you're all such a beautiful gift to me that my gift back to everyone else is to continue and to keep learning and to keep growing and expanding and building our community. And our community is built on the same things that my first listener gave to me. The community, the Death of a Dream community, is about us coming together and supporting one another because it's lonely out there. When you're trying to change your life, and I don't care what it is, whether you want to lose 100 pounds, 2 pounds, you want to gain 100 pounds, you want to start a podcast, write a book, you want to level up in your professional career, you want to take a complete pivot on life and go back to school, you want to go home and be a stay-at-home mom, you want to open a small shop. I don't care what it is. I want to create a community that supports one another, because there are not enough communities like that. And not support like, we're going to go buy your thing. Support like, you can do it. And when you have a question of whether or not you're adding value, we're here to say the value is your energy. The rest of it will come. Do you get energy from that thing? Yes, then keep going. When you're following your passion and the work of your heart, I promise you it will pay off. It will always pay off. You know, and I shared a quote yesterday and I wrote a blog on this idea that I just never wanted to be about the money. I wanted to be about the meaning, right? And so many times in our regular environments, we're told the exact opposite. You have to be about the money. And trust me, I went down that path and I bought all the things and I did all the things that I was supposed to do. And at the end of the day, it was never about money for me. And the fact that that's where I was focusing all of my energy, thoughts, and movement was crazy. Because I never wanted it to be about that, right? And so I expand on that in the blog post, but I think really at the end of the day, that's what this community is about. That's what we're about. That's what you get to be a part of when you join this podcast. And if you head over to my website, you can join that community. We're on Facebook, and we're starting to build what is going to be this support group of women championing you and the wonderful things that you are about, and you chasing your energy, you chasing your passion and your purpose, and all of the beauty that becomes as a result, right? I want you to be able to show up in this world as you. And in order to do that, you may have to unbecome a lot of the things that you've become. That's what's hard. And doing that alone, I can tell you firsthand from experience, doing that alone, because not everybody's going to jump on board right away. Oh, what? You want to show up as a completely different person? Completely change your professional life? Completely pivot? You've gone crazy. And a lot of people might try to convince you that you need help. Medical help. Or at least some medication, please. And it doesn't have to be like that. We want to be this community. We want to support everyone who's going through something like that, because the rest of the people will come along if you just stay consistent. But outlasting the haters is the hardest part. So that's what our community's for. It's so no one has to go it alone. Right? You don't have to. So join in on that community. There is a link right on my homepage at nessinc.com, and we'd love to see you there. We'd love to see you show up. We'd love to know what you're working on, what your projects are, and more than anything, we'd love to support impossible possibilities, because nothing's impossible. So that's my great thing. Go ahead and share your own great thing, like with us, with someone, over in the group. That very much is what we're doing and what we're supporting. And if you just want to be a part of a super fierce group of women that are about higher things, that's where you can find us. That's what that community is about. So go ahead and join that today. Like, don't do anything else. Do it right now. Push pause. Go to nussinc.com. Find that community on Facebook. Just search The Death of a Dream podcast. You'll find it. Join us. We're there. It's a welcome place. Come on over with us. Okay, enough said about that. So let's dive all the way in, because that's what we do, right? We're not messing around. So last night I was up and I was putting away clothes, and I was okay. I'm going to tell the real embarrassing story. Okay. I gotta take a breath. I'm gonna tell it. It's gonna be embarrassing. People are gonna think I've gone insane. It's okay. Just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna do it. Okay. I'm just gonna do it. I can't. I don't want to tell it. Okay. I'm gonna do it. Okay. So I'm sitting and I'm folding clothes, and so many times, like, these vivid images of things happening to me play out in my mind. So vivid. It's ridiculous. So I have this image. Oh, I'm going to start crying. Okay. I have this image of me calling into Gary Vaynerchuk, which if you don't follow him, you're missing out. Follow him in all things. He'll make you believe in things you don't even want to believe in. And he cusses a little bit, which I'm here for. So I have this vivid image of me calling in to, he does a whole bunch of different things to connect with people. And so I have this image of me calling into his show and being like, hey, Gary, thank you. You changed my life one day, a year and a half ago. You said if you wanted to do it, you would. And on that day, I decided that I would just start recording a podcast and see where it takes me. And since then, I've recorded every day since that day, and this is what I've done. And then I'm like, Gary, I also, 6 years prior to that time, or well, really 5.5 years prior to that time, I decided that I didn't want to live according to other people. I always wanted to be able to follow my passions, and so I knew that I had to get the financial side of things right. And so 6 years ago, I started cleaning that up. A year and a half ago, I decided that I'm going to go and chase my passion because of what you said. I start a podcast. I start growing that. A month ago, I left my job, and I could leave my job because I had cleaned up my finances to the point where I could go chase my dream and never look back. And so right now I'm at this point where I'm growing steadily, but what do you think is best for me to scale this podcast and to start monetizing now that I've done this work? And I visualize myself saying that to him, and his response is, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You, this person, this is what you can do. If you just want to do it, if you're just willing to show up. And then he goes on to, this word gets ridiculous, but I'm still going to say it. He goes on to say, like, you're the type of person that I want to sponsor. You're the type of hustle. And then he decides that he's going to take me on Vanderchuck Media and, sponsor me as a person that does this work. Okay. And I start crying, like I'm folding the laundry. And as he's saying these things, I just start crying because it's just like, that's just it. Like, you aren't going to know until you know, but you already know. You already know what it is, right? And it's not going to take someone like Gary to tell you your work is worthy before you feel like it is. You can feel like it is today. I felt like my work was worthy when it was calling my family members on my commute to work and convincing them that they are so worthy of all the things that they want to do, right? Or helping them through a tough time. I felt like it was worthy then, and I just wanted to take that and do more of it with more people, right? And so then after I have this crying in my laundry moment, because I realize that everything that I've done is just so true to what I wanted to prove in the first place, is that, like, you can just wake up and go. You can wake up one morning and you can just decide that you want this completely different life, and you can just start chasing it, right? And yesterday I was writing all about that experience and this, like, overwhelming knowing in my heart that I had gotten it wrong, and I had gotten it right in so many different ways that it was hard to even pull myself away from continuing to just chase that life, because that was already the road that we were on. People were already acknowledging that I was good here, that this was safe, that this was smart, that I should continue. And that didn't mean that it was right for me, right? That didn't mean that it didn't have a lacking. And it was so hard to just show up and think and say, like, this isn't enough. This isn't going to be enough. It's never going to be enough, right? There's never, if I continue to stay in this world, I'm going to keep looking for things to fill in gaps that I'm really never going to be able to fill. Because it just isn't right. And I couldn't explain that, and I still don't know that I can. But hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Or hopefully you don't. But if you do, because it took on all different forms. It would look like, okay, well, I'm not quite getting this here, so I need to go do this extra thing. And, I'm not quite getting to fill this need here, and so I need to go do this. And that looked like being in about 100 million places other than the one that I was sitting in. And it also looked like needing money and ladders and needing to climb up and not really understanding why, because I was perfectly happy in what I was doing, but like there was just this overwhelming sense that there needed to be more of everything. And I never, ever felt satisfied. And I don't know that I ever would have. And the reason that I didn't ever feel satisfied wasn't because I wasn't reaching the heights I wanted to reach. I think it was because no matter what heights I reached, it wasn't ever going to be the thing. It wasn't really what I was passionate about doing, and so I would never feel satisfied, no matter what. Even if I got to the top, to the very tip top. And the scarier thing was this very present thought in my mind that even if you level all the way up, even if you get all of the things that you're writing here, all of these material things, all of these money goals, even if you get that, what happens if you're still not satisfied? Right? Even saying it out loud right now kind of takes my breath away, because I would have just continued. And had I not had my coaching experience, which really fast passed me to this realization of you got all the material things. You got all the trophies, you got all the awards, you sat in the rooms you said you wanted to sit in, you did all the things you came here to do, and it still isn't right. And luckily I had that experience, and so I had this moment where I was just like, it was true here, and it's going to be true in your professional career as well. This isn't what you really want. And so, so I had these thoughts, this Gary Vaynerchuk moment in my mind, and then I'm putting away my clothes and I'm playing through what was the timetable? Was it really a year and a half ago? Yes, it was a year and a half ago. And then I'm like, okay. And then I read his book, 2 pages. And when was that? And I'm like, oh, that was when you were 30. That was on your 30th birthday. You have actual picture proof of that book being in your stack of books that you read. Okay, that's a thing. You could talk about that. And what an insane place to go, because I'm just saying this is a visualization at this moment. But in my head, it's so real. I can't imagine this not happening now. It's almost like it happened. Okay, so I'm okay, I read the book when I was 30, and then I have this moment where I'm just hold on. And I yell downstairs, Jordan, how old are we? How old are we? And if you're not in your 30s yet, you don't know what I'm talking about, because you still very much know your age. But I feel like once you kind of hit 30, you lose track of it. Plus, once you add kids, you lose track of it. I mean, there's things. So I'm like, how old are we? Oh my gosh. And I start freaking out, because I'm like, if I'm turning 33, I'm three years into this journey. That's so crazy. How did that happen? Where did those 3 years go? What have I even done? Where are we going? You need to get serious. Holy crap. Really 3 years? Sheesh, come on. What is taking so long? And luckily, my daughter comes up, and I'm like, Emery, am I 33? Am I turning 33 this year? That's not possible. And I'm trying to think, what did my card say last year? Was it a 1? Was it a 2? Oh my gosh, this is about to be a 3. And I can't think. And then Jordan, after, he lets me freak out in my mind for all of about, I don't know, probably less than 30 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. It felt like I just passed a year, all within that 30 seconds, as I'm going through and just trying to remember how old I am. And he calls up and he's like, we're 31, we're going to be 32 this year. And I just take this relaxing breath, and I'm like, okay, 2 years. 2 years ago, I decided that no more. You have to get serious about this. Actually, what do you want? Because you are wasting your life. And more than anything, you're going to turn around when you turn 50 and you're going to start to do this work. You realize that. Because what you're going to realize at 50 is that you never needed all the things that you thought you needed. Because at 50, you're finally going to have them, and you're going to look back and you're going to go, oh, those same things that were in my heart and my head at 20 are still the same things at 50, except now I know that it didn't have to be a degree, and it didn't have to be years of experience, and it didn't, honestly, it didn't have to be gray hair and work-related experience in order for me to move up. It didn't have to be all of those things for me to go just do it. And so I start working at 30 for my 50-year-old self, because she knows that you don't need all these things. And so I just want to help her out. So she's not like getting up at 50 when her body hurts, when her mind hurts, when her age has finally started to wear on her and starting to grind. Right? At 30, I decide that I'm going to start working for her, because I don't want her to have to do that. I want that woman to be able to just live her damn life. Right? I want her to be able to just be. To wake up and feel sore and wore out, so go back to bed and take baths and sit and just enjoy coffee with friends and like live the life you're meant to live. Right? I'm working for her, so she doesn't have to come back and clean up all this mess that I just decided to wreck on this earth because I didn't think I was enough. Because she knows I was enough. And this 30-year-old self knows that I was enough at 20. And so that's why. And this is what I want to call you today. First and foremost, anything that is in your head and in your heart, you can do. Period. I don't care what it is. Second, if you are willing to sacrifice material things, you can chase anything. Okay? You are going to have to get it right with your finances, right? But here's the thing. It really isn't all that hard to chase your dream. But are you willing to change your life so you can go do that? And here's what I will tell you. There is no better time than now. Especially if you're in that 20 age range. Don't wait till you're 30, have a mortgage, have kids, have daycare expenses, have all these things that you've acquired in your life and have to work your way backwards 10 years and undo all the stupid things that you did. Stop buying things you can't afford today. Only buy things that you can buy with cash. That's going to be a great start. Okay? Stop trying to be 10 years ahead of where you are right now. If you can't afford a Tesla, probably just don't buy one. And not afford the payment, afford the Tesla, the whole thing. If $50,000 seems like a lot of money to you, don't spend $50,000. Okay? That's it. That's pretty easy. So many times we just sacrifice the things that we want to do because we want things. But I don't want to look back and not, because I just think about this all the time. I don't remember anything I got for Christmas. Anything. But I do remember the time spent with family. I remember those things. I don't remember the gifts. And so think about that as you apply what your life is going to look like. You're going to remember the things that you did more than you're going to remember the cars that you drove. You are insanely capable. Go do it. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world. We're going to record intro. Hey, thank you for being here this morning. We're diving in, and I have like this crazy laughing moment in here, so don't mind that because I kind of unveil this like really embarrassing vision that I had yesterday. Because I've gone crazy. No, I think just because I'm allowing those thoughts into my mind. And I wasn't planning to say that part. I really was only planning to expand on this other part of the story, but I, am who I am. So we went there. So don't mind the laughing series, but really today we're diving in and talking about why there's no better time than right now. And like if you could undo everything or you could go back, what would you do different? And you don't have that chance. And so right now is when you do different. Right now is when you show up, and we're talking about that and a little bit of my journey towards that idea. And I have a couple expansive blogs on this topic too that I wrote yesterday and today. So go ahead and find those things at nussinc.com. You can also find the new community that I created today. So head over there and join those things and help us champion other people recovering from the death of their dreams. I'm so grateful that you're here today. Thank you for just being a part of this. I can't thank you enough. I can't even try. Head over and do those things. Let's dive in.